On the 10th of September 2020, a woman named Liz Gabriel crouched over a round white cage in the Australian bush and opened the door. Inside was a Tasmanian devil, a female they had named Adventurous Lisa. Lisa moved to the opening, paused for half a second, then slipped into the undergrowth and disappeared. What happened next was 3,000 years in the making. Lisa was the first Tasmanian devil to live wild on the Australian mainland since human beings brought dingoes here in the Stone Age. The last time anything like her roamed these hills, the Great Pyramid of Giza had not yet been built. That is how long the mainland had been without her. Standing just behind her cage that morning was Tim Faulkner, the man who had spent 14 years building toward this moment. He told the cameras, "In 100 years, we are going to be looking back at this day as the day that set in motion the ecological restoration of an entire country." Also there, hands on their own cages, Chris Hemsworth and his wife, Elsa Pataki. They released 26 animals that afternoon. And what happened in the months that followed, in that sanctuary in Tasmania, and in the broader science of what Tasmanian devils actually do to the landscape around them, turned out to be something nobody had fully predicted. But to understand why, you first have to understand what was already hunting the devil down in its last stronghold. Because this story does not start with a release. It starts with a disease that should not exist. In 1996, a wildlife photographer named Christo Bars noticed something wrong with a Tasmanian devil in the northeast of Tasmania. A lump on the face, then more lumps. Tumours spreading across the jaw until the animal could no longer eat. When scientists examined the tissue, they found something that broke a fundamental rule of biology. This tumour was contagious, not through a virus, not through bacteria. The cancer cells themselves were the infection, passed devil to devil through bites, during feeding frenzies, during mating, during territorial fights. There are fewer than 10 known transmissible cancers in the entire animal kingdom. The Tasmanian devil now carries 2 of them. Within years of its discovery, devil facial tumour disease had swept through the northeast of the island like a wave. Populations in the worst hit areas collapsed by more than 90% within a decade. The wild population fell from around 53,000 in 1996 to fewer than 17,000. A species that had survived for thousands of years on that island was falling toward oblivion in real time. And that is what made the question of the mainland so urgent. Not just for the devil, for everything else too. The devil had not always been an island animal. 3,000 years ago it lived across the entire continent, in Western Australia, in Queensland, in the forests of what is now New South Wales, where this reintroduction would eventually happen. Then, roughly 3,500 years ago, humans arrived on the mainland with dingoes. The dingo is a pack predator. The Tasmanian devil was not built to compete with a pack predator. Add a surge in human hunting pressure and a catastrophic drought driven by El Niño that stripped food sources across the continent, and what had taken hundreds of thousands of years to establish vanished within a few centuries. Tasmania kept the devils alive only because dingoes never made it across the Bass Strait. So, in September 2020, these animals were not going somewhere foreign, they were returning to somewhere they had been taken from. Tim Faulkner and his organisation, Aussie Ark, began planning for that return in 2006. The goal was to build a mainland insurance population large enough to survive whatever happened in Tasmania. If the disease continued its spread, or if a catastrophic fire hit the wrong part of the island, the species would not disappear with it. Conservation does not get a second chance with extinction. They started with 44 founding animals in January 2011. They managed the breeding carefully, tracked genetics, prevented inbreeding, kept the animals as behaviourally wild as possible. No hand-rearing, no habituation to humans. These animals were always intended to go back. By 2020, Aussie Ark held more than 200 devils at their facilities near Barrington Tops, roughly half of every Tasmanian devil in any mainland Australian captive program. Then the team chose a site, 400 hectares of temperate woodland in New South Wales, about 3.5 hours north of Sydney, surrounded by nearly 400,000 acres of protected forest. The preparation had been meticulous. In November 2019, the team completed a predator-proof perimeter fence around the entire sanctuary. Before a single devil went in, they moved through the enclosure and removed every fox and every feral cat they could find. Those two species are responsible for the extinction of nearly every mammal Australia has lost since European settlement. 40 species gone, and the devil's return to the continent is, in part, an answer to both of them. In Tasmania, scientists studying what happens when devil populations collapse found something that changed how ecologists think about predator ecosystems. When devil numbers fall, feral cat activity increases. The cats range further, they hunt more. Their behaviour shifts measurably in the absence of an apex predator. When the devils are present, the cats pull back. Not because the devil hunts the cat, but because the risk calculation for every animal in that ecosystem changes the moment something arrives at the top of it. Research published in the journal Biological Conservation concluded that Tasmanian devils reintroduced to mainland areas where dingoes have been eliminated could restore precisely this kind of top-down control. The science is what underpinned the entire project. It was never just about saving a devil. It was about what saving the devil might save next. But first, the 26 animals had to survive. The September 10th release, with the cameras and the celebrities and the white cages, was the visible part. What followed was the invisible part. Radio collars tracked in the dark. Camera traps checked in the rain. The team, stepping back to see whether animals raised in captivity could do what their ancestors had done for hundreds of thousands of years. They could. The cameras recorded devils moving through the bush at night, covering territory, hunting, behaving like wild animals, which, despite their captive upbringing, is exactly what they were. Then came the breeding season, and this is where the story shifted in a way that stopped everyone. In May 2021, Aussie Ark rangers were conducting routine health checks when they found Lisa. She was carrying 3 joeys in her pouch. They were the first Tasmanian devils born wild on mainland Australia in 3,000 years. Faulkner said afterward, once they were back in the wild, it was up to them, which was nerve-wracking. And what a moment it was. 7 confirmed wild-born joeys in that first season. 9 more in 2022. By 2023, the estimate for a single breeding season reached as high as 45 joeys, and Lisa herself was found carrying another 3, calmly held in the hands of a ranger during a morning pouch check. Generations of instinct running through animals that had never been told what to do. 50 additional adults have been released into the sanctuary since 2020. More than 20 wild-born joeys have survived their early seasons. In May 2025, flooding swept through the sanctuary. Every joey survived. Don Church, who led the international conservation organisation that partnered on the project, put it plainly. He said the Tasmanian devil is an ecosystem engineer that can restore and rebalance the wild to the benefit of other native wildlife, to the climate and to people. This does not just bode well for this endangered species, but for the country with the world's worst extinction rate. The programme is still unfinished. A field deployable vaccine against the facial tumour disease does not yet exist, though trials are ongoing. The full, unfenced release into the hundreds of thousands of acres of protected eastern forest surrounding the sanctuary has not yet happened. That is the next step, the harder one. Faulkner has said the goal is not just this fence and these 400 hectares. It is for devils to one day range across the great eastern forests of Australia, the way they did when the last ice age ended and the continent was still becoming what it is. He has noted that 3,000 years in ecological time is a blink. Lisa is still out there, somewhere in 400 hectares of temperate bush that her species has not touched since before written human history began. She does not know what she represents. She does not know about the disease still spreading through Tasmania, or the 14 years of captive breeding that preceded her release, or the long argument between scientists and governments about whether any of this would work. She is doing what her biology has always known how to do. And in the quiet of that sanctuary, at an altitude that feels exactly like a slice of Tasmania, the mainland is slowly learning to remember something it forgot 3,000 years ago. If you found this story as remarkable as we did, hit subscribe. There are more of these untold recoveries waiting, and we are just getting started.